So you were born as a blobfish. You're probably wondering why you're not as ugly as you are in those photos. We'll talk about that later, but this is what a blobfish normally looks like. You may not know it, but your appearance is a masterpiece of adaptation to the harshest conditions on the planet. Welcome to a world where you will fight for survival, while simultaneously causing bewilderment in everyone who sees you for the first time. Your childhood began at the very bottom of the ocean, where eternal darkness and cold reign. In this merciless world, you were a tiny thing, just a few millimeters long. You emerged from a tiny egg laid by your mother in a secluded crevice between rocks. Your parents, like all blobfish, could not boast of excessive care for their offspring. They left the eggs to their fate, relying on nature and luck. At first, you were completely helpless. You were drifting in the water, trying to hide from the hungry mouths that abounded in the depths. Luckily, your gelatinous body allowed you to easily hide among the rocks and underwater plants. You were so invisible that even predators passed by without paying attention to you. This was your first advantage in this harsh world. Everything is different here. There is no light, the pressure is enormous, and the temperature is low. And that's why you look so strange. Your body consists mainly of a gelatinous mass. You have almost no muscles, but you don't need it. Unlike many other fish, you do not have a swim bladder, an organ that helps fish stay in the water. Instead, your low density allows you to literally float above the bottom, practically without wasting energy. You made your first move not for the sake of adventure, but to turn slightly towards a small crustacean that was swimming past. Life has just begun, and you already understand. Success is when the prey itself goes into the mouth. So you began to master the art of the lazy hunter. Soon you began to hunt small crustaceans and other tiny creatures like plankton that happened to float by. You learned to wait patiently, without moving, for hours. If someone held a contest for the laziest creature in the ocean, you would be the winner. But this is not laziness, but strategy. Every calorie counts. You have no teeth. You simply swallow your prey. You are almost like a vacuum cleaner. As you grew a little, your gelatinous form began to play an important role. Not only could you easily hide among the rocks, but you could also withstand incredible water pressure that would crush anyone not adapted to such conditions. Your body seemed to be specially created for this environment. However, this also had its downsides. For example, if you were raised to the surface where the pressure was much lower, your body turned into a shapeless lump. People who saw you like this often did not understand that this was only the result of a sharp change in conditions and not your natural state. But it was for your appearance on the surface that you got your name. In 2013, you won the Ugliest Animal nomination. Yes, an achievement so-so. Your appearance is not a reason to be sad. Your big, sad muzzle is the result of the unique structure of the skull and soft tissue structure. This helps you survive without wasting energy on active movement. You are a master of saving energy, and this is your main advantage. During your teenage years, you had moments of self-knowledge. For example, one day you came across a glass object. It was a discarded bottle shard in which your face was reflected. You looked at your reflection for a long time and thought, "And this is called ugly? Yes, I am the most beautiful here." Your adventures were not limited to just looking at your own reflection. One day, you accidentally found yourself in the path of a giant crab. This monster decided that you could be his dinner. You did not lose your head and took a pose of absolute helplessness. That is, you were in your usual position. But the crab decided not to touch you. How good that not everyone likes jelly. Time passed, and you grew. You are now 30 centimeters long and weigh 2 kilograms. The adult life of a blobfish is a constant struggle. You spend your days lying on the bottom, waiting for something edible to float by. And don't lie that you don't know anyone who lives like this. Your size and mass help you to remain invisible to large predators. But not everyone is lucky. Your ability to barely move saves energy. Despite the lack of muscles, you have excellent control over your fins to move slightly if necessary. The life of an adult dropfish does not get any easier. You still remained in the depths, avoiding predators and fishermen's nets. You learned to recognize danger from afar. For example, the bright lights of deep-sea predators no longer confused you. You knew that it was a deception and stayed away. Sometimes you noticed strange metal structures descending from the surface. These are fishing nets. They are one of the main threats to you and your relatives. If you are caught and brought to the surface, your gelatinous structure will change due to the sudden decrease in pressure, and people will not understand what a beautiful creature you were in your natural environment. Not all days were equally calm. One day you found yourself in a real underwater storm when a strong current began to carry you from side to side. You were saved by the underwater rocks in which you were stuck, but even in them you did not waste your time. Time passed, and you became ready to continue the family line. One day, you met another blobfish. Together you chose a protected crevice, where the female laid hundreds of small eggs. Your task was to protect them from small predators. True, your guard strategy was to simply lie nearby and scare off curious creatures with your appearance. The eggs soon hatched and tiny blobfish were born. When the fry hatched, you were ready for any difficulties. But as it turned out, most of them disappeared faster than you could count them. You could not help them anymore, but you knew that nature would take care of the strongest. So the years passed. You still sat in one place, sucking in food. Sometimes you were carried away by the current. One day, people intervened in your life. The fishing net sank too deep, and you were trapped. You tried to escape, but you had no chance. You were raised to the surface, and then strange things began. People looked at you, laughed, and took pictures. They did not understand that you were a unique creature, perfectly adapted to its habitat. Your body, created for the depths, looked ridiculous on the surface. Your photo flew around the world. You were called the saddest fish, but you were not sad. You were just a fish living in your own rhythm until you were torn from your usual environment. However, thanks to this accident, people began to think about the depths of the ocean, about its inhabitants, and about the importance of preserving natural ecosystems. Your life may have been short, but it was not in vain. You became a symbol of uniqueness and survival. Some of your descendants are now drifting in the depths, continuing your lineage. Perhaps one day they too will become heroes of the ocean, and people will remember you as the first blobfish that made them think about the secrets of the underwater world. Subscribe to the channel